Everyone involved in the making and recording of this podcast is fully vaccinated and boosted. We take all COVID-19 protocols very seriously. If you are not vaccinated or know somebody that is not vaccinated, we strongly urge you to get the vaccine. Please do your part. Thank you very much, and we hope you enjoy this podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Not Ready to Grow Up podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and I am joined by my fellow hosts today.
Menna.
And omnia.
Well, thank you, Menna.
Let's get it. I know.
Show us a high-energy intro.
I know.
So I figure, it'd be pretty good for us to just go around and say a little bit about ourselves, and then we can get into why we wanted to start the podcast.
Why don't we start with the person who gave the idea?
Yeah, Omnia, what would you like to start? Hello?
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
We're talking to you.
Oh, I'm looking at the man behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, we introduce our man behind the scenes.
Yeah, let's
right
introduce
now.
our people behind the scenes.
Yo, what's up? It's Jason, aka Freddie Benson, and I'm gonna be the technical producer of the Not Ready to Grow Up podcast. Yo, what's up? This is Jack, aka Jacko. I'm a rapper by day, but at night I'm the marketing person for Not Ready to Grow Up podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy this
Stream Sunny
episode.
Thunder on SoundCloud by Jacko Raps.
Jack and Jason. Oh my God, they're twins. If you didn't know, we're gonna have them as guests at some point, but they're also working on this podcast with us. And one of the reasons I started this I wanted to start this podcast is because I listened to so many different podcasts already, and they talk about some really cool things, but a lot of them are already older, like in their late 20s, and like we're in our early 20s, or at least like my sister Menna's like, oh, if you didn't know, we're siblings too. That's my sister.
Yeah, what are you, like 12?
No.
She's 17 and she's about to start college, whereas Chris is in college, and I finished college, so we're in different parts of our lives, and we'd like to talk about it with people.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's going through that, or everyone's going through it differently, and then. I wanted it to be all run by, like, friends, because it's not, like, it doesn't want to,
like a business.
Yeah, it's not really a business. It shouldn't feel
formal.
like a job. It should be, like, friends hanging out, because that's what we do. We have these conversations when we do hang out. I mean, Menna lives in the room next door to me, so, like, we had these conversations all the time. Mm-hmm. So it'd be fun to do it on, like, a bigger scale where people could listen. I mean, I say bigger scale, we're probably going to have, like, 2 people listening to this, but...
Oh, come on. We'll have more people than that. Mrs. Tanya and Rachel are going to be the only listeners.
we love them both.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, I'll give a little input here, too. I have always thought it would be really cool to have a podcast, like, with my closest friends, just sort of shooting the shit, but also having some more serious topics, because I feel like a lot of people, in our generation could relate to a lot of the things we have to say, because I feel like all of us come from very different backgrounds, have had different upbringings, and therefore... we all bring something else to the table. And a little bit of background on how I know all these guys. I mean, Omnia and, the men behind the scenes have known each other since... you've known them from, like, more than 3/4 of your lives.
I was going to say, because I remember meeting Jack and Jason, and they were, like, in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I was
a
third
baby.
grade. You were a baby, yeah, because...
So they've known
Jack
me my
and
whole life.
Jack and Jason have known my brother since he was in the womb.
That's so weird.
That is
yeah.
insane. So, like, we've been a part of each other's lives for a really long time.
And then...
I just consider Chris a part of that time. Because I don't even know when you entered our lives.
Bro,
but
you
you
were
were
always
just there.
I was just, like, I don't remember exactly when I met Omnia, but I know it was through Jack and Jason. And then I met Jack and Jason at this wonderful, beautiful establishment called Camp Monocacy at Centerville Elementary School. And there, the seeds of my entire life were planted by these 2 men that I just fell in love with. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. They were LITs, and I was a little camper. I was in, like, 4th or 5th grade at that time. And, I don't know, it kind of just, they've been my bros since then. And then, obviously, I met Menna and Omnia. So I've known Menna since she was, like, 3 feet tall. And then...
She's walking around saying all the duels.
Oh my God.
It's very good, very good.
I don't know. All of you have just, in my head, just been there.
Yeah, it's
Like, I
like
can't even...
I've just been into all the memories.
Exactly.
It's so crazy too because what Jack and Jason and I, and obviously Menna because she's my sister, all lived in the same neighborhood, and like we grew up next door to each other. And Chris would just always walk over, like he was always just there. I don't even know what cemented, because I remember like at one point, I think I was like a freshman in high school, and you guys were like in middle school or something. And, like, you were just always hanging out with us. Always there. Mm-hmm. And that's what I saw you all the time. Yeah. And, like, it's so crazy to think about. And then, like, you went through, like, your last couple years of high school, and we were just always present. Yeah. Like, we were at your grad party. We were at your, like, your birthday party. It was so many things. I went to your sister's wedding. Like...
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Like, thinking about how intrinsic we've been in each other's lives. It's crazy.
Oh, my God. Olivia's, third generation? Or, like, fourth generation of, like...
Of what?
Of, like, all of, like...
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Because, like, we literally watched a new generation be born, like...
That's
we didn't
crazy.
watch her be born, but she, like, came into the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because, well, Rachel was only, like, 2 weeks pregnant when you were at the wedding, so...
And no one knew, too. She didn't tell everyone until, like, 2 months after she got married.
I know.
I, like, freaked out on Facebook. I was like, yes!
I know.
A baby!
That's a little bit of lore to add to the podcast real quick. I actually live with my sister and my brother-in-law. I've been living with them for like 2 months now. So I have been seeing my niece every single day for the last 2 months. And it's like, it's so beautiful to see her like I was there when she started crawling. I was literally like sitting there when she like figured out how to do it. Because at first she would do this thing where she would be like on her hands and knees, and she would just, like, rock back and forth, and then she actually was only able to crawl backwards for, like, 2 weeks.
Backwards?
Yeah, no,
so she could go backwards before she could go forwards.
Yeah. That's like a good metaphor. Like, backwards before you go forwards. But literally, she's, like... but the thing is, though, she's really advanced for her age, because...
Well, girls always are.
Yeah. But I'm really happy that she has such, like, a healthy household to grow up in, because that's something that my sister like harped on, like not wanting to let certain aspects of like my family be around her when she's growing up, because even when you're that young, because you don't even remember anything from before you were like 3 or 4 years old, but that kind of subconscious stuff is still like wired into you. And so
what was that one show that said your body remembers things before your brain does? There's like a TV show that like said that.
I don't remember.
I'm about to
sounds like something off.
Well, our
Office.
fact checker Jack Wyman just walked
Left.
away.
I went upstairs to take a shit.
What is it?
There was like a show that said like your body remembers things before your mind does, like at a young age.
Before your mind.
Before your mind.
Jason is taking some like promo pics for our social media, which I'm gonna plug for a second. But as he's doing this, I'm like picking at my skin.
No, literally.
I
can't find it.
Oh well, maybe when our fact checker comes back,
he can find it.
But yeah, it's been awesome seeing her grow up every single day. She says like dada and mama and stuff. It's so cute.
I thought I would say she calls you dada. Like that's
awkward.
No, she doesn't know like who to call mama. Like she'll just say it to anybody. So she called me mama this morning. I was making eggs, and she was just watching me in her little high chair.
You were taking a part in your womanly duties that morning.
Yeah, I was. Mm-hmm. I did feed her some milk that morning.
Menna, do you want to give a little spiel about yourself?
Oh. I don't know. I'm just a sad story. Not really.
I'm just
I will say, having you on is actually kind of fun, because though she's younger than us by a lot, not a lot, but enough, she's like finishing high school, starting college kind of age range. So it's like you're going through it already. You're like halfway done with college. I finished it, so like she can bring in some of these topics from like what you experienced that we've already gone through. We could talk about it too.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to talk about? How my freaking school doesn't know how to help me prepare for college?
Yeah, well, why don't we all just kind of go through and talk about how our college experience has been? Because that's actually that's a good idea, because Omnia, you went through most of college without COVID. Mm-hmm. You're going into college with COVID, and my first year of college was 2020 when COVID, first hit and everything went online. So it's like we have 3 different perceptions of college, so...
Yeah. Am I starting?
Yeah, we're looking at you.
Oh. I mean, in general, well, when COVID started, I was a junior. So that, and then I remember, well, everyone always said junior year is supposed to be your hardest year of high school. And so I remember when everyone was like, oh yeah, it's online, will be easier, you can cheat. No, you could not. Oh my God, the way I almost failed school. And, like, cheating wasn't that easy because it's like, sure, you're on Zoom, but then they'll be like, all right, turn your cameras on. Or, what else? There was, like, proctored stuff. So, like, for some reason, like, they'd be able to see your, what's it called?
Your screen?
Your screen.
Future Hood College professors, if you're listening to this, Menna is recounting her fellow students' experiences. Menna never cheated.
Oh, if
Yeah,
you didn't know. If you didn't know, Menna's a Division III lacrosse commit to Hood College. Which, if you also didn't know, is... I don't know if it's my alma mater because I graduated there from undergrad, but I'm going there for grad school. I sound like a grandma.
What does alma mater mean?
Yeah, I don't know
It's
what that
like-
means.
oh, sorry.
Our fact checker, Jason.
Hey guys, so an alma mater is where you previously went to school, so technically your high school would be an alma mater, and yes, Hood College would be your alma mater because you went there for undergrad, and it would also be it for grad school, so you kind of have two alma maters and one at the same time. That's kind of hot. Sorry. All right, continue your lovely conversation.
Thank you. So
where
you
was
almost
I?
failed junior year.
No, yeah, and
But they say that to everything.
They-
Junior year is always the hardest for everything. Like, junior year
Yeah.
of college, for me, I literally almost ripped my hair out.
But I feel like the only reason it was hard is because that's when all your IB and AP classes start coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had one AP class sophomore year, but that was like mandatory NSL. And then all my IB classes started, and that's where the programs, and as well with like the health professions program I'm in. That was it's a 3-year program where they prepare you to be like a medical assistant. My last class was my junior year, so I had to prepare for that huge exam without being in person, and I can't retain any information online.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh yeah, fill out this 12-page workbook activity, but I didn't know what I was doing. But
For me, like, going online close to the end of, like, college, at least for me, they didn't do any of the exams, like, proctored. What they did was they made it open note, open book, because they knew everyone was going to cheat anyways. I don't condone cheating because it gives me so much anxiety.
no, yeah.
It's just, like, the idea of, like, looking over your shoulder to make sure no one sees you. Like, that's already obvious enough. So, like, just study. And if you didn't study, at least be honest. I used to
It
do that
works
all
out
the time.
better for you in the future anyway.
I mean, I didn't cheat for that exam because in general we took it inside the school.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember so I had taken the first 2 classes my sophomore year. When I tell you, if you ask me like all the bones in your body, I can tell you that right now. But if you were like, we've ended.
Do it, I dare you.
No.
All the bones.
But like I could tell you like right your arms, right? Like be like humerus, ulna, radius, right? Metacarpus, carpals, all that.
Yo, rate all 206 bones in your body right now.
Tell me what's the
Let's
most important bone.
The elbow.
I had a coworker who shattered their elbow.
Did you know babies aren't born with kneecaps?
Yeah, they don't form until they're like
Bro,
3
that
or
was
4.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Olivia when she
It's your
stands. It's like
patella.
her leg is just locked up. She cannot like if she's standing upright. She's just
Like, the knees are
fucking,
flailing.
Like, jello.
That was my favorite fact in my class. They were like, yeah, babies aren't born with kneecaps.
Oh,
It's just cartilage. I mean, you want to know what your kneecap is called? The patella.
the patella. Wow.
Jason can fact check me on that. Are you?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Thank you.
But, oh, my kneecap just cracked.
Nice.
As he's fact checking us, I was
There you
gonna.
go.
Wow. Okay, 1 point to Menna.
Hey, round of applause. She won Jeopardy. I was gonna say for like college, I feel like I got my college experience stolen from me. Only because my first years of college, I was just miserable. I was sad and depressed all the time, and I didn't get to live at school. So there was already half my college experience that I didn't get to have. I commuted, but then they're like, by the time I was starting to be comfortable with myself and like be open to the idea of exploring what my college experience could be, and I did do that I was enjoying college. Like, I was loving it. And it was around like junior year of college for me when all this was happening. And then when we went online, I cried so much because I finally, and it wasn't like everyone was like, oh my god, you like college that much, you like school that much. It wasn't that. It was that I was finally happy with myself, and I was accepted the stuff that was going on in my life, and I was willing to move forward and make the best of what I had, and I felt like it got taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then senior year, I tried really hard to like have half of that, but also be safe because of COVID. And by the end of senior year, I mean, I felt like things got a little better because a lot of restrictions were lifted. I got to have my graduation in person. Everyone was there.
We were
like,
there.
Everybody was there. It was so much fun.
All the boys were there.
All the boys were there. It was, for me at least, it was like I felt really lucky. And then when grad school started, I was like, I really don't want to be in person. I don't want to be at school. We were talking about that in the car on the way here. She was like, I
need to be in person.
And I was like, I do not want to be back in person.
I think one of the biggest things is being in person makes you more motivated, because when it's so hard to find an environment at home where you don't just feel like not doing your work or not like putting your best foot forward with doing work. Because so for me, my very first semester of college was online completely. You know, I didn't have a single class in person, and so it just really felt like 13th grade. Like, I'll be completely honest, I feel like I haven't learned jack shit in like the year and a half I've been in college. Like, this upcoming spring is going to be, you know, the end of my sophomore year. I feel like I really like have not learned a single thing, and it's not for lack of trying. You know, I've been trying. I've had a pretty rocky sophomore year so far, though, just because of like, you know, lack of motivation and depression and just like kind of having a fuck it attitude for a while there before I moved out of my house. But I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people is it's not just being a visual learner, it's just being in like a classroom environment where this kind of sounds weird, but it's almost like you have no choice but to learn.
Exactly.
Like, if I'm doing homework in my room and I'm in my bed, I have my bookshelf, I have my Switch, I can just turn my PS4 on. It's like so hard to be motivated to do work.
You have no one to tell you no or put it away.
Exactly. So
I'm such a nerd because I'm the opposite.
No, I cannot do any. Like, I can't do work in the place I'm meant to relax.
Exactly.
That's how I put it.
A lot of people say that, but I just know how to switch that part of my brain off.
Yeah.
I had to like force myself to do it at the dining table because dining room.
Remember when I would sit in like the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, like high school, I thought freshman, sophomore year of high school were easy. I breezed through them like no other.
Same.
And then like Menna said, junior year for me was hard, but it wasn't hard because of education wise. Like, our family had moved, so mom was driving me more of a distance to school, and I felt like I wasn't doing well in all these classes I was taking, because at that point by junior year you're required to take AP classes. Like, you can't take anything lower level, and I was not interested in anything. And I remember taking like AP Psych and like it was an AP Government, and like those classes, like, really loved it. And then senior year for me was like iffy because I like did not care anymore about high school. I just wanted to be done.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got to college and like, yeah, I did have a rocky start. I was very miserable and upset, but the education part of it, I got to pick the major I wanted. Like, I loved psych. I declared my major in psych. So when I had to do schoolwork at home, it was so easy for me to turn that part of my brain off because I wanted to read my textbooks. I wanted to learn it. Like, I became that nerd who would read the book. Like, I read the textbook, but it was because I understood it.
Yeah.
If I was reading it in high school, I was like, this is bogus, and I wouldn't read it because I could not understand it, and nor did I care. So I feel like it's different for everybody.
I think that's why I'm excited to go to college, because I'm finally going to learn things I want to learn. Like, I'm in high school right now, like, I don't care about IB history, I don't care about English. Like,
I mean, it's important to know these things.
I mean, yeah.
But it's not what we want to have careers in. It's not what we want our life to be.
Shout out IB, honestly, because I know IB is like hell.
It's actually, let me be honest with you, it's not that bad.
Really?
It's really not. Everyone terrified me, and when I took it junior year, like, yeah, it seemed horrendous, only because it was online.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't know what we were learning. But now that I'm in person, it's like, it's just taking what you've already learned and then adding the extra details into it. Like, IB Bio, we're learning cells, we're learning mutations, we're learning all this, but then you're just, like, taking the extra step to how it happens.
Okay.
So when you graduate, are you going to be wearing the sash that says IB?
If I pass my tests, yeah.
Wait, so what do you want to major in?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Bio.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I want to minor in, though, but I like the idea of anthropology.
Yeah.
We do have an anthropology.
I really like the idea
Partner.
of anthropology.
Chris wants to transfer there.
I do. That's because I lost my train of thought. That's why. It's because I have actually come to the realization in the last like month or so that I don't really know if I want to be a psych major anymore. Like, I think the main reason I wanted to be a psych major is because, like, oh, I've been through all of this shit and I've experienced all of these like negative emotions and environments and like have these like mental disorders, like I should use that to help people. But if I'm not like genuinely do I feel like I want to be a therapist? Like if I don't have my own shit together, do I want to sit down with multiple people every single day and listen to them talk about all these things that even I don't know how to fully work through yet? I don't know. And like that's my main thing is I kind of just had to take inventory and think, do I really want to be a psych major? Because I feel like I've been denying myself of what I truly want to do, which is creating stuff. Like I'm writing a book right now. I would love to make a movie, not like make a movie, but just be involved in the making of a movie. If I could get a book published, that would be my like lifetime dream so far completed.
Question: what would your book be about?
Well, I'm writing it right now.
What is it about?
Oh,
You're trying to
what?
give a little.
Promo, book
yeah.
promo?
Okay.
What are you writing your book
so
about?
my book, really quick, is it's a dystopian novel, sort of.
Hunger Games?
No.
Divergent?
No.
The Giver?
No. See, that's the thing. I don't want to write it like a book that's already been written.
Like what's that? The Handmaid's Tale.
No.
What's that one book I'm reading? It's like, I don't know what it's about, but it's like.
You don't
It's
know
an
what you're.
She's reading a book.
No,
she doesn't
I
know
know what it's
about.
about. Here's the thing. I don't like reading. It's about
The man
why
behind
am I
the scenes is
blanking?
laughing.
It's based in England-ish.
It's based in England-ish.
It like
Based
you're
in
not
England.
Yes, I don't know English. If you've ever seen me text someone, we all know I don't know how to text. So the book is about these kids who grow up in like a boarding school basically, and their role in life is either to be a donor or a carer.
I thought she was gonna say a donut.
And
No, it's not. It's not like that at all.
like
So okay. So what it's about basically a little general synopsis, because if I get this published, that would make me extremely happy.
We're
So,
copywriting this. No one take his book idea.
Penguin Books.
wow, come and sue
Penguin
you.
Books. Oh yeah. So what's today's date? So today's date is the 27th of December. I'm putting it
2021.
2021. December 27th, 2021. I'm making a poor man's patent right now. I'm saying this is the idea of my book. If somebody comes up with this idea after me,
We're killing you.
you're a bitch.
Okay,
But
we're not killing you, and no, you're not a bitch.
yes, thank you, Omnia.
Fine.
So, what the synopsis of my book is, it's a dystopian sci-fi novel set about 100 years in the future, so a few generations in the future. And essentially, the government mandated these vaccines. It's actually cool because I came up with the idea of the book before COVID hit, and I'm really scared to write this book now because I don't want people to think I'm like a vaccine skeptic, you know. But anyway, so the government created these vaccines, and what these vaccines do is it actually changes your genetic code and makes it so that every generation of kids after you becomes more and more resistant to diseases and less susceptible to genetic
Mutations.
abnormalities or genetic disorders. Like, for example, say your family has a history of Alzheimer's. With this vaccine, your kids and your kids' kids, etc., will be less and less susceptible to carrying on that gene of Alzheimer's, and they will also be more resistant to other diseases and infections. So, if anything, it'll negate your kids from having to get measles vaccine or tetanus vaccine, or you don't get a tetanus vaccine. You know what I'm talking about. When they're born, because they'll already have an immunity to it because they're parents. You know what I mean? So basically, it's like an all-encompassing, powerful vaccine. But the government messed up. So what this vaccine does is a lot of people didn't have any reaction to the vaccine whatsoever. You know, they're just normal people. But the vaccine either had a positive or negative mutation in a person's body. So either they had like an extremely advanced immune system, like they literally cannot get sick, or they and then their families and their subsequent generations became physically deformed. Like, not only do they become way more susceptible to diseases, way more susceptible to infections, and they're extremely immunocompromised, but their body, like, they're born with birth defects and their bodies are more and more deformed. So as these generations go on, these people who are born just looking more and more disfigured. So these people in society have been like gentrified to another part of the city where they just won't get hired by anybody because they don't have the capability to work. They don't have the capability to do jobs, so they've all been gentrified to these slums, and the vast majority of jobs have been replaced by blue collar jobs. There isn't stuff like, white collar jobs anymore. It's all construction workers, people who manufacture food, stuff like that. And then the government is sort of like an oligarchy dictatorship run by people who are not nice. And
bad guys.
Yeah.
Donald Trumps.
Yeah, so that's like the premise of...
Did you hear that? Someone has their phone on.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's
Give
Freddie
him the
Benson,
vaccine.
I'm sorry.
So that's like the main idea of the book. And then of course there's a plot of like, the government is actually kidnapping and trafficking these people that have been gentrified because they want to experiment on them with other types of vaccines, because they want to create humans that can be in their military that are essentially super soldiers, but not like Captain America. Not literally, but like just like advanced humans.
They can't get sick.
So what happens is these two kids, their father was one of these people, but the kids did not carry on his genes for some reason. It's just like a dominant recessive thing. So when their kids find out that their dad has been kidnapped, they want to rescue him. That's basically it.
I sidetracked a little bit. I'm sorry. I did listen to Chris's book. But did you guys put a cover on your couch?
We've had that.
This has been here for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't I used to nap on this couch with the leather on?
Yeah.
And with the cover?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the cover, but definitely the couch itself.
I have taken bomb-ass naps on this couch. We should also explain that we're an audio-only podcast. We don't have video because we're not comfortable with video.
We will have photos and some snippets of the podcast if you check our socials, so shout out to our socials.
shout out to Not Ready to Grow Up podcast, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff.
Yes,
But we're right now recording this, the three of us, in Jack and Jason's basement because that's how we always hang out.
Yeah, this is just the meeting spot.
It's just the meeting spot, so we thought we would just record it here. But this couch right now, I'm leaning against it on the floor because I like to sit on the floor. I'm really tempted to just sit on this couch and knock out. It's so bad.
In the middle
It's
of our
okay.
first episode.
Me and Chris got it. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well,
there's a reason we have 3 people for this podcast. Because if one of us can't be here,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's other
not if
people.
one of
I
us
mean-
is here and decides to sleep and be lazy.
Yeah.
well, lazy is my personality.
Lazy bones.
I mean, can we talk about the fact that I wasn't even supposed to be here?
Yeah, you were supposed to be working at the ice cream shop you work at.
Yeah, I make a living off making ice cream and cakes. It's so great.
I make a living off shelving books and delivering people food.
I think it's so
So-
cool that you like work at a library though. That's actually kind of cool.
I love it. It's not like a very sufficient job money wise, so I'm looking for another job right now. But dude, books are like my safe haven. You know what I mean?
Giving
Like,
you vibes.
excuse me.
Excuse you.
Like I do 80% of my shopping at Barnes and Noble. I'm not kidding. I buy more
I just
books
got a book.
than clothes. You just got a book?
Well, let me rephrase it because I sound really stupid.
That's crazy.
Okay, I actually do like to read. It's shout out to my best friend Hiba because she, when I told her that I read sometimes, she looked at me. She's like, "You read books?" I do read. Contrary to popular belief, I did read in college too. When we had books assigned to class, I would read it. The worst book I've ever read in college was like All Quiet on the Western Front, but we're not gonna talk about that. It's not the worst book. It's just very sad and traumatizing and heavy, but it's not a terrible book. But you guys know the author? I forget her name. She wrote the book One of Us is Lying. Can you look up her name?
I'm actually doing
Who's
it.
it? Oh.
The author for the book One of Us is Lying. She New York Times bestseller.
Karen McManus.
Yes, her. So
McManus.
I never got the book. One of Us. I've never read it because my friend has the book, and my plan was to borrow it from her and read it. But her sister's reading it, so I have to wait for her to finish it. But I got her other book, The Cousins, and that was supposed to take me the whole summer to read. And it doesn't take me that long to read a book, but I just wanted to have a summer read, and that was
Right.
going to be it. I finished it in 3 days.
Wow.
That's how good it
my.
was.
Dude, good books can like suck you in. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I just got her new book that came out last week, but I got it cheaper than it was before.
Wow.
Called You'll Be the Death of Me. and I have not read it yet because I'm currently reading a self-care book, which is like a popular self-care book from Instagram that a bunch of mental health psychologists and stuff have been, that create like those Instagram accounts that do the graphics that everyone posts on their stories. They have a book about anxiety. It's called Untangling Your Anxiety, and I really liked reading it because they're not diagnosing you, they're not treating you, but they're explaining why you're experiencing this and validating what you're experiencing. So I'm reading that.
Yeah.
Can
I interject here really quick?
Yeah.
So I just have a quick question. Jason, you can keep this in or not. How like personal are we willing to get on this podcast? Because I would love to talk about like, I know you and I don't know the extent of like how Menna experiences this kind of stuff, but I know you and I have like really bad anxiety. You especially, like me more so with OCD, but we have that in common.
Yeah.
And then obviously we struggle with like depression and stuff like that. So like,
I mean, I don't mind talking about it, but I'm not really going to go in the root or the cause of it. No. Because I'm currently seeking treatment for that, and I know Menna is looking for treatment for that. And I think we're not really comfortable talking about the root and cause of it.
No, I'm not. I definitely understand, like, not wanting to talk about, like, why we have these things, but just, like...
But our experiences with it, I don't mind talking about my experiences with anxiety. Because a lot of the stuff I was talking about with my mom a couple days ago, a lot of the stuff that I thought were just natural or normal were actually signs and symptoms of anxiety. And this is... Like, yes, I got a degree in psychology. I'm in a job where I'm working in the mental health field and helping people with mental health. I want a career as a counselor, but I'm still learning. Like, you would think I should know all these stuff, but I'm still learning, and it's so cool learning new things. Like, I just told my mom, if you tell me to list out all the traumatizing things that's happened to me, I cannot remember it, because sometimes your brain will block those memories. Like, I can't remember most of my middle school experience because of how often I was bullied. So there's, like, certain things that, like, I cannot remember because of that. But then there's some things where, like, I remember as clear as day, like, my first ever experience with anxiety, and, like, I was 4 years old, sweating, and my heart was racing, and I didn't know that was anxiety, and I got it over something so stupid. So it's very interesting learning that stuff. Zane and Heath Unfiltered, my favorite podcast.
That's my girlfriend's favorite podcast. It's like everybody's favorite podcast.
Oh my gosh, stop. If Zane and Heath ever listen to this, I've DM'd you guys.
No
please,
way.
Please don't look at it. I'm 22 years old. I am in love with your podcast. And if Matt King is listening also, will you please be a guest on this podcast?
Bro, oh yeah, Zane and Heath, if you're listening, can you guys go on Cameo? Because I wanted to get a cameo from you guys for my girlfriend's birthday. And you guys aren't on Cameo?
Matt King is. I've always wanted him to do a cameo for my birthday. Sister.
Jason, cut this out.
I don't make enough money for that.
Jason, cut this out. Who's Matt King?
Matt King is a co-host on Zane and Heath Unfiltered.
I don't listen to it, so I don't know.
And he's friends with Zane. He's part of the vlog squad.
He's the tall white guy?
He's the tall white guy who's really smart.
Okay.
Everyone makes fun of him.
A lot of tall white men.
Everyone makes fun of him because he always references being from Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Yeah, so Jason, just cut that part out, because if Zane and Heath are listening, I don't want Matt to get upset, you know?
Or we should just
keep that part in. Well,
I'm planning.
I've also DM'd Mariah because
Mariah
Carey?
Mariah Motto, Heath's girlfriend. She's also co-host on Zane and Heath Unfiltered.
I'm learning.
Okay.
I get some kudos with my girlfriend now, because now I actually know names.
So I feel like I have a good mesh of personalities. Like, I feel like I have a little bit of Zane, a little bit of Matt, a little bit of Heath, and a little bit of Mariah.
Yeah, I'm just quirky like that.
Yeah, but there's 4 of them on the podcast. Yeah,
why aren't there
4
names
hosts.
why aren't there names in the title? Why is it not?
Zane and Heath are the 2 main hosts, and then Matt and Mariah are the co-hosts.
ZHMM.
Same. It's like with David Dobrik. You always have what's her face.
Okay, well, I don't listen to David Dobrik's
We don't like
vlog.
David.
And, okay, it's not that I don't like him. Okay, let me. I don't want hate. I don't want hate from his fans.
Sorry, you're right.
But David Dobrik, I'm questionable behavior
based off his past
past, and I think there is a chance of redemption, but for a chance of redemption, actions speak louder than words. You have to you have to own up and take responsibility and accountability for your mistakes. So that's how I see that. However, I don't listen to his podcast because it's very raunchy. All they talk about is like sexual intercourse and like genitalia.
David Dobrik?
Yeah, and it's not on purpose. Like, they're just joke because it's a bunch of dudes, and like it's like us hanging out. Like, we always harp on each other, making fun of each other. That's how it is, and that's great. But every single episode.
Yeah, that's too much.
So I don't listen to his podcast, and I don't really watch his videos anymore because I used to watch him like when I was like 18, 19. only because like at the time he was like really popular and was like really funny. Now I'm just kind of like, I've kind of outgrown that.
Yeah.
Though I think it'd be cool if he ever met me and gave me a Tesla. If you want to fund my my graduate school career, I'm taking out loans for that. Come on, man. I'm poor.
Yeah. Also, just
working in mental health is not as luxurious as people think.
Luxurious.
Luxurious.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And we were just informed that in the last 37 minutes, we have been doing the intro and talking about ourselves and some of the things that we've been going through in our like life updates, and never actually talked about what the premise of this podcast is. And I think we should probably like cover that.
We
because
probably should do that.
This podcast is called Not Ready to Grow Up, and we have not talked about why
we're not ready
to grow up. I mean, I can get the ball rolling on this one because I feel like we all have been through this, but we're at such a prime age where we're supposed to start being adults. However, we had started acting like adults at such younger ages than we anticipated. My sister knows that. My brother and sister call me Mom Nea sometimes because I always act like a little mom to them, and I've been doing it for as long as I remember. Like my mom always tells me stories about how when my sister was born, I would always be like, she's mine. I'm going to give her a bath. I'm going to change her clothes. I'm going to do this. Like, we try to act so adult at a young age. And sometimes things happen in our lives where we had to act more like an adult. And so we're now at this age where we have to be adults for real, but we don't want to grow up yet because we want to still be kids.
If anything, we missed out on, like, parts of being a kid because we had to grow up so early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like, in general, though, that's been happening with a lot of people, especially in my age. Like, we'll talk about, so with me right now, 17 years old, I had to buy my own phone and pay my own phone bill. And I was talking about it with my friends, and one of my friends is paying off her car. Like, she's 17, she should not be the one paying off her car, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we had, like, a huge, like, fire drill at my school, and her main concern was, does my insurance cover if something happens to my car? Like, we're 17. Why is she worried about car insurance right now?
That's a lot of that stuff. I didn't have to worry about that till I was like 18, 19 when I was in college, and like I was practically taking care of myself even though I was still living at home. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to start this podcast, because I'm going to bring up Zane and Heath unfiltered again, but there's some episodes where they talk about their experiences when they were in high school and early 20s, college age, where they did some things where they had to be an adult, even though they didn't want to. And we come from different cultural and ethnic backgrounds that also implements that mindset where we have to act like mini adults at such a young age. But it's for me listening to stuff like that and wanting to, like, listening podcasts talk about that stuff and me wanting to comment on it or say my opinion or put in my input about my experience, which is one of the reasons why Not Ready to Grow Up podcast was created. Because our group chat, we were like talking about this, like what's something we all have in common, something that in majority of our conversations and a dialogue we can have with other people who can relate, what is it? And we're all at these prime ages where we're essentially growing up, but we don't want to grow up. Because if I could play with Barbie dolls, I could.
No, literally.
Bro, let me bring this up real quick because I haven't thought about this in a while. Jack, Jason, and I played with action figures until we were in like 7th or 8th grade.
Oh
no,
my
God,
because
stop! We did too. Okay, so my sister and I have a 12-year-old brother, and he has an iPhone, PlayStation, Twitch, all that stuff, and he's into gaming and stuff.
He's a Twitch streamer?
Yeah, not a Twitch
No.
streamer, a
Oh.
Switch, a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, so I thought you said Twitch. I was
He
like,
would be
yo.
a Twitch streamer
No,
if he could.
really would if he wanted
to. Some of the conversations him and his friends have, like, they're talking about getting girlfriends and having their
Kissing
first
girls.
kisses.
Heck.
They're 12. These are kids. Me and my sister were talking about, like, when I was 7, I was still not 7. When I was in 7th grade, I was still playing with Barbie dolls.
Literally, when
Like, I don't
was
think
in
I stopped till
7th
8th grade.
I would literally play Legos with him. I remember you'd catch
Yeah.
me in his room. I would literally be playing Legos with him.
And I feel like
red-handed.
we didn't have.
No,
I just heard that. We didn't have, like, the amount of technology enforced in our lives like it is now. Like, everything is so technologically advanced now. Like, you can't do anything without having technology. Like, we back then, even though, like, growing up in the early 2000s, it's not like technology wasn't there, but it wasn't as advanced as it was now. Like, I remember the iPhone came out when I was like 4th, 5th grade. It was like the iPhone 3, whatever. Yeah. So I just, like, those things weren't like big for us.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was us, like, wasn't it like, Jack and Jason can interject at any point, but wasn't this when we were kids and we lived in the neighborhood together? We would all have to go back inside when the minute the first light went on outside.
Yeah, the street lights. So when we grew up, we lived in a roundabout, and there was like street lights, and it was just a bunch of us kids, and we would like play outside constantly. And the second one of the street lights turned on, we would have to go inside for the night. I remember that.
And I remember the way, because we didn't have phones like that. Like, my brother's 12 with a phone. We didn't have phones. So the
I didn't get an iPhone until 10th grade.
I didn't get an iPhone until 9th grade. And at the time, it was like the iPhone 4 or whatever that came out.
An iPhone 5.
So I remember the way that Jack and Jason would have to come hang out with me is they would knock on my door and ask my parents if I could come out and play. And my parents would have to go to my room and be like, hey, Jack and Jason are outside. Do you want to go outside and play? But yeah, what were we talking about? Not growing up, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, we got kind of sidetracked.
That's how we talk.
I think that a lot of the people in our generation are just kind of like really starting to get a bigger picture of the world and the way the world works, because news has become so much more accessible, and I feel like a lot of people in our generation are paying more attention to the news. Mm-hmm. So if anything, it's just causing people to have to grow up, you know, and make sacrifices. You know, there are still people who, you know, are not extremely responsible, but there are a lot of people who realize sacrifices need to be made in adulthood, and now we're making sacrifices at our age because of COVID, you know, making sacrifices like not going to parties or not going to like a concert or something, or I don't know, just making, like, learning how to just make adult decisions and make sacrifices, especially because, you know, some of us move out at younger ages, so like now I have to learn how to budget my money because I have to pay rent and car insurance. And, you know, Menna's paying her phone bill now, and Omnia has
always been paying
bills.
Omnia pays for way too much stuff.
Omnia pays for a lot of stuff.
I literally pay for everything except for rent because I live in my parents' house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I just started paying for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not fun.
it's not like
I had to pay my car registration a couple days ago, and like I don't know if anyone's ever, like, the first time I ever had to make a payment on anything, I think I was like 18. I felt so proud of myself and like an adult, like I made my first adult payment, but that stuff piles up.
Oh
no,
because I had to
pay
my registration renewal. It's $135. Like, you know what I could do with $135? I could buy 5 bags of cat litter with that. I also have 2 cats that I take care of.
No, that's literally what I felt like when I started paying my phone bill. So like I was like, oh my god, guys, like I'm an adult. I can pay I get to pay for my phone. I pay for my
$50 a month, dude. That's like for the phone and the service. Like, that's ridiculous.
First of all, my first 6 months are prepaid, and my first 3 months are for free. So I don't have to pay any bills until June 21st.
Still gotta save, because if you start spending it all now, it's gonna...
That's what I was about
when that time frame comes, it's gonna all be gone.
I know, and I was sitting here and thinking, like, when Christmas was coming up, like, I wanted to buy everybody gifts.
My birthday's also right around when you're gonna have to start paying bills, by the way.
So is our brother's birthday. I'm pretty sure Chris is like a week or 2 weeks.
Wait, what day is your brother's birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, yeah. I'm like exactly 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
But,
crazy.
No, when I first... And I was buying, like, Mahmoud's shoes. I bought him Air Maxes. Holy crap, did I, like, almost cry when I bought him those shoes.
Stuff is expensive,
It
especially when you only
is.
have a part-time job because you're a student.
And I get paid $12 an hour. What is $12 an hour going to do for me? Plus tips, but, like...
I also know our mom will consent to this, like, saying our brother's name, because I know kids are like, minors, get consent or whatever. Remember when we told our mom that we were doing this podcast? You know how excited she was?
Yeah.
She was so happy. She's like, I want to listen to this. But
Did you tell her that Tony was going to be on it?
Tony.
Wait, no one's going to understand what Tony is.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward.
My mom thought Chris's name was Tony for the longest time, so we always have this joke that, like
a Tony.
Tony is
I was actually almost named Anthony.
Really?
Yeah.
You would have been Tony, then.
I would have been a Tony.
But I just noticed that because Menna said our brother's name, and Chris called him Mac earlier, so a lot of people are going to be very confused. Also, hearing our names, too, like, very ethnic names, so, yes. Our brother has this rule. He's 12. No one knows how to say his name correctly, so everyone calls him Mac, except for members of our family.
Mahmoud.
We have to call him by his actual name because he's like, you pronounce it correctly. You cannot call me Mac.
In general, calling him Mac feels
But
weird
But when I go pick him up from school, if I try to say I am here to pick up Mahmoud,
they don't know who
you're
you're
talking about. So you have to say I'm here to pick up Mac.
Can we talk about the fact that once I had to go pick him up from school? Let me tell you,
You had to pick
I had to pick him up from school.
Really?
How?
So I was on my way to practice.
18 to pick them up.
No, this is what happened. So our mom was in a meeting, and Mahmoud called me crying. It was the day he got into the fight, and his necklace was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
So he has this Superman necklace that he's like in love with.
Someone ripped it off his neck
Someone ripped
and
it
like
off-
threw
What
it
the
out
fuck?
out of the bus.
No, they didn't throw it out the boat. Bus.
The bus.
The bus. And he was like saying he was gonna sell it, and Mahmoud got so mad, straight up like came around, right hooked him and everything. Like it was he got into a fight. He called me crying. He's like, "Mama's not picking up. I got into a fight." And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Am I allowed to come and pick you up?" He was like, I have to go find out." And what's the one teacher he keeps going? He goes, Miss Wells.
I don't think that's the
I don't
name
know
of
what
the
her
teacher.
name is, but I just
don't
know
think
her
that-
name is like the same name as the school.
I was gonna say, that does not sound like
No,
her name.
she has the same name of the school.
Okay.
I
I don't
know.
think that's her name.
But so he was like looking for her to see if I can pick him up, and I was on my way to practice, so I had to call Amy, my best friend, and was like, "Can you take me to Halliwell's? I have to go pick up
Why'd you do
Mahmoud."
that look?
I don't know.
Is that the one that was like?
No, it's someone else.
Oh, okay.
No, and so I had to go pick him up from school, and he was like crying, and my mom called me and goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Mahmoud got into a fight. No one's picking up. I had to go get him."
That's cute.
That's cute.
And I'm
Oh,
sitting
so
here
we
like,
literally got off track again.
Yeah.
Because we were really talking about the
Well, that's a
premise,
good
like,
example
of how our friendship is. We all go off track.
But
Yeah.
also, we're talking about how I'm doing adult things.
You are doing adult things.
Picking up my little brother.
Ooh,
from
and
school.
we're really excited because we're gonna do guests, and our guests are all gonna be like members of our lives, like friends, family members,
Yeah.
and talking about how their experience when they were our age and comparing it to like us and stuff, and like talking about the differences. I'm really excited for us to have Chris's sister on. Like, I
Bro,
think that'd be so cool.
My sister was wilding in high school. Like, you see how she is now? She
Your
was
sister's
like,
so cool.
that's the thing is, like, my mom treats me like, when I was living with her, she would treat me like so, like, she would not let me do anything for the longest time.
But you
in
don't
high
like
school.
doing those things.
Well, true, but if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, she was so strict until, like, 11th or 12th grade, and I'm like, you know what I do on Friday nights, Mom? I sit in my room and I play on my PS4 on Friday nights, like, with my friends. And she's like, well, when your sister was in high school, she was getting in trouble and sneaking off and stuff. And I'm like, but I don't do that, you know?
She's so cool.
I think.
I want to
Have
meet Olivia so
Have you ever
bad.
met my sister?
No, I haven't.
She's
She's
so cool. Rachel's so
My
cool.
sister's probably the coolest person I know. No offense.
What?
I said my sister's the coolest person I know. No offense.
She's, but like we're all close second, right?
Yeah.
The way he just
Jason.
smirked, Jason.
I'm second. I'm sorry.
No,
Freddie Benson is second.
No. I think according to Wikipedia, I'm second.
If you hear that mumbling in the background, it's Jack.
Okay, according
Jacko
to
Raps thinks
according
he's
to
the second
according to the
coolest.
scores we've gotten in Mario Kart, Jack is third.
Whoa, I still have that picture. of
By
me getting
default,
first.
I think
That
I should
one
be
time.
second because I don't hang out with you guys that much. So,
Okay,
I deserve the
my
second
ranking
place.
goes my sister Rachel, second is Jason, and then after that, no, second is Jason, Omnia, and Jack, and then after that is Menatala.
But oh my goodness, I think by default I should be everyone's second, only because I don't spend that much time.
That
with
makes
you guys.
no sense.
But that's exactly why.
Wait,
because
how
I
do you
don't
know
hang out with you
Minna's
guys.
like the full origin of Minna's name?
I don't know like I don't know what it means. I just know it.
Gift from God, Minnatullah.
How'd you say it?
Minnatullah. How do you know the origin of her name?
Do you guys know that?
Does anyone know the origin of Minna's name?
Did you guys know before
No.
Chris was saying it?
I don't know how I found
Well,
out.
I knew your
just-
name. I just don't know the origin of it.
No, but
But-
I'm saying like, did you guys know it was Minatullah before Chris?
Yeah.
How do you guys know?
You
I
told
just
Oh,
found
no,
out.
Amaya told us when we were younger.
How do you Menatala?
Not you spilling
I mean,
my secrets.
Well, I don't remember how like
yeah.
I don't remember how this conversation came up when we were younger, but I
There
just
was-
think it's funny that they remember that.
There was one point in my life I was so proud of being called Minatullah because I always wanted a longer name. So I'd be like, yeah, guys, my actual name is Minatullah. Minna's just a nickname because I wanted a nickname so badly. And then people started giving me a nickname based off Minna.
Well, it's not that like your actual name is like the Minna. The name Minna comes from the saying Minnatullah, which means a gift from God. You just took the name menna. And if you think about it, in the Bible, there's manna. People always say manna, but it's menna. Just saying.
That's
And
pretty
then, so like menna is just your name, but it's derived from menatullah. But sometimes people just say that as to be a joke.
Yeah.
I like how just Chris just knows it.
Some of my friends know it too.
I have like a fantastic memory, so when it comes to just like names, I just know them. Like,
Do you know the origin of my name?
Well, I know your full name, yeah, but
Not
like,
not my middle
do I
name.
know what it means?
Like the origin of my name.
Yeah, what it means.
Omnia.
Yeah.
It means.
You don't know.
No, I
There's-
know. I'm just trying to recall the information real quick.
I know the origin of it.
What is the origin
He's
of it?
better.
Did you search it?
He
I actually
fact-checked.
did search it. I fact checked. It's a nightclub in Las Vegas.
So there it is.
Damn it,
But
I was
No,
stalling.
the actual meaning is a wish.
Yeah,
According
that's
to
what
Google
I was,
Translate.
And
I was
so-
stalling for time. I was gonna have Jason.
And just
So-
show it to him so he looked cool.
Omneyiti, my wish.
Sorry.
Omneyiti,
Okay.
my wish.
So
Is
my-
to be
wait,
on a
pause.
famous podcast.
Pause. Why did I think Omneyati was just a nickname, not an actual word?
Wait, what?
I thought, because people would call Omneya Omneyati.
Yeah,
I thought it was a nickname.
it means my wish.
Oh.
Like, you-
I
we
didn't
say
even know that.
I-
I'm related to her.
That's
When you
crazy.
say when you say my wish is, that in Arabic it'd be omneyati, and then whatever your wish is. So my mom was told I was a boy, and she cried about it and said omneyati is to have a girl, and then I came out a girl, so she named me Omneya. The doctor must have been stupid because I think he thought my umbilical cord was a penis. But
Bro, you had a long ass penis anymore.
It was
I'm jealous.
That shit was still inside your mouth.
Slanging.
but so that's why the origin of my name.
No.
What?
Did no one pick up what Chris just said?
No, and I don't want
You
to.
can keep going.
But so Omneyiti is like a nickname everyone says to me, but it's not a nickname because my name is Omneya, and it's derived from the phrase Omneyiti. What does Chris mean? Christopher.
Christopher actually is pretty cool. So what Christopher means is, it's just
Jack, fact
It's
check.
one of the most common names.
It
Actually,
means
for
these
those
nuts in your mouth?
for,
Sorry.
for those of you who are curious, a little more podcast lore, I'm actually Hispanic, but I have like the whitest name of all time.
We also, I was really dumb in like high school, and I went up to, I said to Chris, aren't you black? And you're like, no.
Bro, the amount of people on the track team who thought I was black or Indian before, like, I remember.
You're like a skin tone that's not light, but it's not dark, so you're not white passing. Like you're not white at all,
No,
but
I
you're
don't
not dark.
I don't
Alright.
look white. Yeah.
I got the meaning of Christopher. It's just bearer of Christ.
Nice. Let's go.
Wow, we have some.
Religious
Religious
shake going
Religious names going on here.
What about Jack and Jason?
Wait,
on. Yakov.
I'm gonna be
Yo.
searching that for
Yakov.
Jason.
Search of Jack.
Jack Heshy.
They're together names.
Okay, so Jason is a Greek name that means healer.
It's Greek.
It is Greek.
Oh
We
my.
should bring our Greek friend on the podcast.
No.
No.
And Jack is an English name that means God is gracious.
Nice.
Oh.
Do you guys want to hear a fun
So we
fact?
should. Okay, wait. Sorry.
Are
Continue.
you really about to interrupt me right now?
I'm sorry.
Before my fun fact corner? No, you
Proceed.
can go. You
No,
can
it's
go.
okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alright, so Chris's fun fact corner. I remember the very first thing Jack ever said to me. I'm not kidding. I remember the very first thing he said to me all the way back when I was in 3rd grade. So I met them in 3rd grade, but I became friends with them in 4th grade at Kaminoxie. But in 3rd grade, I met them through my through our mutual friend Eugene. And the very first
Eugene, sorry.
the very first thing Jack said to me was Nyan Cat, jump on it. I don't know why.
I don't even remember that. That's
Oh no, I
crazy.
remember because Eugene and I were walking to Jack and Jason's house, and Jack leans out the window and he says, and he's on the 3rd floor and he leans out the window and he says, Nyan Cat, jump on it. And I look up at him, I'm like, who the fuck is that?
No, it's weird because I remember like leaning out the window.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what I said.
Dude, it was crazy. And then Jason repeated it, and so that's the first thing Jason said to me too.
Wow.
So yeah, Menna,
Cool.
continue.
I don't remember.
We don't even have a podcast title, like not podcast episode title. Like, is this
It's
welcome?
just gonna be.
We're just gonna
The
make
shit
it
show?
pilot because that's the
Pilot.
first episode of iCarly.
That's the first episode of every TV show. It
Okay, fine
starts
then. We'll
pilot.
do introduction pilot.
Well, because
We'll
we
make
could
it
say
spice it up.
Well, the-
not ready to grow up. Episode. We could do.
Did y'all hear Jack Hockaloogie back there?
The title could just be like.
Did you hear the sink turn on?
Episode 1: Introductions, College, and More, or something like that.
I hope they heard it.
You guys are so lucky because you get to hear a thought process in the making.
Thought
Yeah.
No
process.
behind the scenes.
So
right
Thought
then and there.
process.
I'm actually gonna do a call forward. So, podcast fans / listeners, when you're re-listening to this episode, for nostalgia, after our 100th episode releases, when we have like a couple thousand monthly listeners, shout out to our fans listening to our 100th episode.
He's
Listen-
predicting into
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
If you guys comment on our future podcasts, Donut Whopper, we'll know that you're an OG fan.
How are we gonna remember that?
Go
I
listen.
remember Jack, Jason, I
I'll
remember.
The title of this episode is going to be what my brother just posted on his Snapchat story. My new AirPods after my dumbass dog ate my other ones.
And then he posts a
Wait,
picture
who
of him.
ate them?
Xena ate,
She
ate
ate
my
mine
dad,
too.
ate my brother's AirPods,
Jesus
and
Christ.
she ate my sister. At least I thought she would put. I thought like when she would eat it, like a pod would be in her stomach. So the music. No, she ate the case. The
I'll show
pods
you.
were
I
still
have a
fine.
picture of what my case.
Dog eats AirPod case.
Look like.
That's the title of this episode.
I just
Honestly,
recently
yeah,
threw
that'd
out
be-
the.
Wait, I just realized Jack. You know how Jack always drives us when we go places? He can't drive because he's been drinking. So Jason's gonna have to drive.
You should
us
let
to-
me
Okay.
drive.
We
No.
can't remember.
Why
I texted in
not?
the group chat.
Oh, your dad has. Your
You don't
car?
want Minna to drive?
Why won't we let me drive?
You can drive. Can I drive your car?
You can. Drive.
Why can't I
Why
drive?
can't I drive? Just kidding.
Why can't
Or
I drive?
You can drive if you want.
Okay,
The title of this podcast episode is "Who's Driving."
we should let me drive.
I don't know. How long have you had your license? Like,
I don't
2
even have
weeks.
my license.
She has a permit.
oh yeah, you're not driving.
I'm not paying
No, you can drive 'cause
$400.
Omnia's 22, so Omnia can
I'm
do
not
that.
paying $400
Omnia-
to learn something I know how
Omnia
to do.
Omnia will drive. I feel safe with Omnia.
All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap up this episode.
Because evidently we all want ice cream.
Yeah.
I would like to say thank you for listening. And if you are very generous and want to and are able to, you are able to donate to us if you would like to hear more and see more behind the scenes and stuff. If not, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you soon.
Make sure to check us out on Instagram and TikTok at what was the
Most of them are just like NRTGU pod or just NRTGU. Everything will be available on Spotify, and if you go on our YouTube, everything will be available there too.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on YouTube, shout out YouTube listeners. The links will be in the description to all the socials.
yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the first episode. Also, if you are somebody that we know, because we're all gonna be promoting this on our own personal social medias. Shout out to all of Omnia's 16,000 fans on TikTok as well. Every single one of you who's listening to this podcast.
My rise to stardom, my fame, my
Yeah.
fortune.
If you guys are listening to this at night, we hope you guys sleep very well. Go check out my ASMR channel to get some to catch some Z's. No, I'm kidding. I don't have an ASMR.
And then we just insert Chris doing some ASMR at the end of this.
Wait, did you record the ASMR we were doing before we started?
Unfortunately not.
When we were doing a mic.
Omnia doing ASMR, signing out. Thank you for watching.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
That was Jason scratching the mic. I love you. I love you to my cats. Your cats will be listening. Bye, Miss Girl.